Wow, it's been a long time. I've been really busy. I've had a long, tedious journey, moving house amongst other stresses, and I've been itching to get back into the game. So when better to start than today, when it's a public holiday, I'm recovering from flu, and I've got nowhere to go. So ushering in the new year, 2012, here's the McFarlane Series 1 Komodo Clan Dragon. From the outside, there's nothing much to see really, except underbelly. But what an underbelly. Looks like he's got a lot more detailed scaling to his underside than what we've seen so far. I'm already loving the mosaic look to his chest, to his abs, and he's dark hued with black markings on translucent wings. And from his picture, looks like a real mean mother. This one promises to be pretty badass. He was one I really wanted to get, and I was happy to get him at a pretty good price. So why the name Komodo Dragon? Is it a hint that these were ancestors of what devolution would cause to become today's lizards? Certainly if we look at bio, it reads habitat, bogs, savannas, swamps, islands and marshes. Swift runners and climbers, fierce and tenacious hunters, may cause earthquakes. Well, short of the cause earthquakes part, some of this agrees with what we know of the dragon today. So let's get him open. Here we are. The Komodo dragon comes in two parts, the display stand and the dragon itself. Let's talk about the stand first. When I first saw this stand, I thought it was a pretty simple design until I rotated it around and I saw this. A pile of bones left over from his last meal. Ominously, these skulls look human, and I'm guessing that's what this dragon consumes. Other than that, the mossy surface itself isn't anything to write home about. On to the dragon itself. The first thing I noticed is that this is one dragon that doesn't need to be assembled. The wings are a part of the creature, and the real advantage of this is you don't have to go through the common McFarlane grief of having to force wings into slots that don't fit, necessitating extra sanding, reshaping, drilling, oiling, etc. Even at close look, there are no joints, so you do get a pretty seamless dragon for once. The disadvantage, however, is that the mold of the dragons must needs fit into the packaging, and that results in the second most obvious thing being that this is a rather smallish dragon. Here's a size comparison between the Series 1 water dragon you see the size difference? It's not showing up very clearly. If I show you from the top. Okay. And here we have the sorcerer dragon. I can move the camera back a bit. So it's actually quite a small dragon. Well, I don't know, maybe Komodos are smaller anyway, and design-wise, it should not be a problem to have him displayed on a shelf next to your other dragons. I found the tail interesting. First, I like the asymmetry of these tail spikes, giving it a rather briar thorn appearance. In fact, this dragon has a pretty thorny look about him. You've got all these thorns coming up from the spine. You've got these elbow spikes here. These talons are almost needle sharp. Sorry, the wing claws rather. And the talons themselves are actually exceedingly sharp. Now in fact, this is one creature, one figure I would warn you to keep away from small children who are likely to hurt themselves as they are to damage it. Second, the tail itself is bendy, so you can actually pose it. There's a wire armature in it, just like the sorcerer dragon. You can bring the tail around, but I wouldn't want to mess with it too much, right? The wire armatures do have a limit to how much flexibility they have. So that brings me to poseability. Again, there is very little in this dragon as there are with all McFarlane dragons. There are two biceps swivel joints, one here, one here. There is a neck swivel joint. Oh, actually there are two. One at the base of the neck and another where it joins the head. And a tail swivel. Now this tail swivel I'll gripe about in a minute. But basically this creature comes pretty much posed from the box, which means that it is small to fit in, but at least in the wings there are no seams to interrupt the beautiful detail. And speaking of detail, this dragon has it in abundance. I mentioned the underbelly scales, and out of the box and up close it's even more exquisite. Indeed, in the chest area, it's hard to know whether we're looking at just scale or vascularity. Certainly, if you look at the pectorals here, it almost looks like a network of blood vessels. And blood vessels abound. If you look at the membranes, look at that. I love the detailing. The blood vessels abound on wing membranes where you really expect a blood supply from a creature that needs to use these wings for flying. And let's get to the head. Now, this guy looks dangerous. He seems to be all teeth, and his eyes just shine with malevolence. I like the detailing in the teeth. Some seem to have broken off. They're of varying lengths. If I just get the camera to focus, they're of varying lengths. There we are. And I like this little bit of detailing. It makes it look more natural rather than them just taking an easy way out and making all the teeth exactly the same. In fact, he reminds me pretty much of this creature. Recognize this? Yep, it's a fell beast, all teeth from the Lord of the Rings. And these spiral horns remind me of yet another creature from Lord of the Rings. This guy here. Looking at the head square on, I'm relieved that we get symmetry. Right, the eyes are level. What I mean by this is that in many creatures, due to warping or perhaps screwing up during the molding process, you often get a lopsidedness. So let me show you with this old Carnegie dinosaur, the T-Rex, for a second. Now he looks okay from here. Looks okay from here. But when you look at him square on, okay, there. See one eye being higher than the other and the mouth's all twisted? Well, not so much with this guy over here. So I'm pretty happy with that. And look at that purple tongue. It's an interesting contrast, yet I find it harmonizes well somehow with the rest of the color scheme of this dragon. Sure, some might think the colors look drab, dull. I guess some people will say. Yet the mixture of colors and the accents by black stripes in places like the neck, the back, and then across the wing membranes really makes this one of my favorite paint jobs yet. Which unfortunately brings me to the only gripe I have of this guy. Notice anything? Yep. In most cases, articulation for these dragons is really done to fit into the box. They look good in only one real position. For this Komodo dragon, I see no single position that I can rest the tail in to have the colors and the scales even continuous. See, doesn't come up very well in the camera, but it's obvious, and it's even more so on this side. There are almost two colors. You have a greenish hue, green, blue kind of color scheme going on here, and straight away, look at how obvious it is that these are two separate parts joined together. It's such an obvious join, and I think that's a little bit of slackness that really should not have happened. I guess this will happen once in a while. Maybe it's just my copy, but I love this dragon's paintwork and detailing so much. It really does spoil it for me a little bit. But really, when I consider again the exquisite detail, the color scheme, the surprising contrasts, the head, just the overall pose, the energy from this guy, I'd buy him again, faults and all. So there you have it, the Series 1 Komodo dragon. Actually, I haven't put him. Let's see if that. Oh, perfect. Yeah, so it fits perfectly. A lot of times you've got to really force these things. So yeah, there you have it. Series 1 Komodo dragon. Not that easy to get, and you probably won't expect to get him for less than 50 Singapore dollars or so, but definitely worth it in my opinion. Well, once again, Happy New Year to everybody, and I hope to be a bit more consistent with these dragon reviews.